there are the four athletes for the A final of the women's 400 metres, and a very strong final it is. And Irish fans, fear not, Sophie Becker has not switched her allegiance to France. That is a little bit of glitch on the entries, but she is very much Irish, and she will probably be the favourite here for this in lane 5, the Irish woman from Wexford. I think they have amalgamated some of this field by the looks of things, because there was only 4 athletes on the entries, but in lane 3 it is Ines Oitav and Pascual. In lane 4, Barbara Gamblor Garcia. In lane 5 is Sophie Becker, and she is blasting to the lead at the moment through that opening 100 metres. And then in lane 6 from Portugal it is Karina Vanessa Pereira. But Becker, I mentioned, she's got a season's best of 52.82. And she is running very fast here through this opening 150. Comes up to the bell now. Let's see what's on the clock. It looks like about 25 flat as she goes through with a sizable advantage at the moment. It is Sophie Becker of Ireland, who came so close to a medal in the 4x400 metres at the Olympics. Ireland coming home in 4th. She played a starring role in that lead-off leg there. And she has started this indoor season in very strong fashion. She has about a 5-6 metre advantage at the moment as she rounds the last turn. It is Sophie Becker of Ireland powering up to the finish now. How quick can she go? It's going to be a very clear win for her. It looks like Vanessa Pereira coming through in 2nd, but clock doesn't yet stop. We'll wait for official confirmation. The A final of the women's 400 metres, a decisive win for Sophie Becker of Ireland ahead of Karina Vanessa Pereira of Portugal. There is Naima Ait Alibu of Spain. She's a 4:12 athlete indoors, 4:09 outdoors. Here is Lucia Rodriguez. She's a 4:08 athlete outdoors, 4:16 indoors. And then Jodie McCann, she may or may not be aware that her older brother Luke just took victory. I'm sure she is aware in the 800 metres and might be inspired to try and do the same here. So away they go. 7 athletes set off in this women's 1500 metres. Now, how quick can they go? Pacemaker Lucia Juan takes them along. It is Naima Ait Alibu back in 2nd and Jodie McCann of Ireland back in 3rd. And then slotting into 4th there in that orange vest, or blue vest it is, Lucia Garcia. So 200 metres covered in about 34 seconds. It's not too quick a pace, but that's about 4:08 pace or so. But ideally the athletes being strung out here, anything around the 4:10 mark would be really good running for these women. Naima Ait Alibu, it looks like it's going to fall to her when the pacemaker steps aside. Alibu, the Spaniard, is in 2nd at the moment, but is the de facto leader because the athlete out front is the pacemaker, the 26-year-old Ait Alibu. She's a 4:09 athlete at her best. That was run in 2024, but I mentioned that indoor PB recently of 4:12 in Sabadell. That was just about 4 weeks ago. And showing very good strength, Ait Alibu this year, 8:53, a personal best for 3,000 metres. And perhaps that's the reason she is really pushing this along. It is Jodie McCann of Ireland next in line there, back in 3rd as we see them, but really 2nd overall. But a little bit of a gap opening to Ait Alibu at the moment. And I think you can sensibly see Jodie McCann there just making a bit of an effort to try and close that, because even mentally, along with the effect of the slipstream and just cutting through the air, there is a big mental advantage to be gained by just maintaining real, true contact within a metre of the athlete in front of you. You can kind of just mentally switch off and pass those laps a bit easier. And she sensibly closes up there on Ait Alibu, who is in 2nd. And then a little bit of a gap there. Lucia Garcia and Lucia Rodriguez in the blue there. They're in touch at the moment. And Niamh Card is, in fact, I think. Pacemaker checks her watch and just starts to maybe move wide, but it's going to be down to Naima Ait Alibu once she does step aside to try and push things along. Jodie McCann back in 2nd now. And we're coming up towards, this will be 1,000 metres coming up. And well, let's see how fast they can go. If they were running 4-minute pace, it would be 2:40. So that'll be the calculation we're kind of looking for. So they're about 8 or 9 seconds outside that, I think. So I think it's around about the 4:12 pace they're moving at the moment. But that's my back of an envelope in my mind math. And with 2 laps to run now, it is Ait Alibu pushing things along. Jodie McCann is in a great position for Ireland, and She may have just seen her brother Luke take victory over 800 metres, and he came from behind and with a brilliant kick up the home straight took victory. And it looks like this is starting to boil down to a head-to-head duel between Naima Ait Alabu and Jodie McCann. A bit of a gap then, just opening back to, I think that is Lucia Garcia back in third at the moment, but looks to be out of contact in the race for victory, and it looks like it could be just one woman headed for victory here, because Naima Ait Alabu is cranking up the pace. 3:39 on the clock as they go through the bell. She's looking at something in and around the kind of 4:12 to 4:14 range here. Ait Alabu, her indoor personal best of 4:12 just a few weeks ago in Sabadell on the other side of Spain. She was running a lot of cross country through the autumn and winter over 8k, 10k. All that strength is starting to pay off. 3,000 metre personal best recently. And she's also a 1,500 metre personal best, and it looks like she's now safe. Jodie McCann is giving great chase back in second. She's headed for a good time as well, but it's not going to be enough to match Ait Alabu. 4:11 on the clock as the 26-year-old Spaniard sprints across the line. Jodie McCann back in second. Lucia Rodriguez back in third, but I'll get that confirmed. But no doubt about the winner, Naima Ait Alabu. Very impressive. And it is a meeting record now, confirmed now, 4:11.53 for Ait Alabu. She takes victory over Jodie McCann, 4:12.67 for the Dubliner back in second, the Irish woman. And then it was Lucia Rodriguez of Spain back in third, 4:16.03. And then it was Maddie Mooney and Niamh Kerr, both of Ireland, in fourth and fifth, 4:21.72 and then 4:25.67. And then Lucia Garcia, 4:26.87 for the 17-year-old back in sixth. There is Beatriz Castellano, 7:33. In fact, that later best. That graphic is wrong, but that was just last weekend in Braga, so perhaps not quite updated yet. Gloria Hooper will be alongside her from Italy, not France. 7:25 her best, Gloria Hooper. Then here is Andrea Purica of Venezuela, 7:22. So impressive in that semi-final. 7:20 is the national record for Venezuela that she ran 9 years ago. She could be ready to challenge that this evening. The women's 60-metre final. Away they go. Purica is off to a brilliant start, and now Purica is starting to pull clear. Can anyone go with her? I don't think they can. It's going to be Purica. She sticks her chest out on the line and she edges it from Gloria Hooper. The Italian was coming home very well. She kept Purica very honest there over that final 20-30 metres. Just maintaining her pace brilliantly in the middle lanes there. The two tallest athletes in the field there. You can see just in that last 20-30 metres, that height doesn't really help them out of the blocks, but it certainly helps them once they're fully open to their running. And Andrea Purica of Venezuela takes victory. Andrea Purica, you can see there, just keeping that head down, coming out of the drive phase. 7:26 it is now confirmed. She wins by just 1/100th of a second. But I think even though it was 100th of a second, even just looking at that angle, you knew there was zero doubt about that. Andrea Purica takes victory in 7:26. Gloria Hooper of Italy finishes runner-up. And then it is Beatriz Castellano of Portugal back in third. 7:34. And then two Venezuelans in the top four. Neriam Vargas back in fourth, 7:36. But all smiles for Andrea Purica. She's got the win. She's got the bouquet of flowers. And she'll now be having a word with the MC. And here they come, the 7 athletes for the concluding event at the Meeting Internacional Ourense. There is Pilica alongside Lifo. Ronaldo Olifo is a real rising star. He was the Spanish under-23 champion over 800 metres last year. On the left, he's a big talent. He hasn't run an 800 yet this year, but he's been running a good few 1,500 metres, working on that strength. Ran a 3:40. But Pilica to his right, the 25-year-old, 5th at the World University Games last year in the final. He won at the World Championships as well in Tokyo, went out in the heats there. Here's Canales, who was an Olympian 2 years ago. Canales, 3rd at the World Indoor Championships, a bronze medalist last year, 5th at the European Indoors. What a move forward that was, and the Spanish indoor record holder. And then Adrian Ben of Spain, 27 years old now, 3 times a national champion over 800 metres in Spain. 1:45.39 his best outdoors, 43.92, his best indoors. So this is going to be quite the dust up here. It's very hard to know which way this will go, but we're about to find out. And you see Barcala there on the inside lane is just sprinting to try and get to the front there, because I think he's on pacemaking duties. And who will come home in front? It'll be very interesting to see who decides to take this on. It looks like Canales is very keen, and Ben to get moving there. Ben looks like he's going to slot in behind the pacemaker. Will Canales decide to go past him? He will not. Peliza also moving in from the inside, but he slots in behind Canales. So the pacemaker takes them along here. Adrian Ben, the former European indoor champion, slots into second. Then it is Elvin Josu Canales, the world indoor bronze medalist last year, back in third. So two major medalists for Spain on the global and European stage in second and third at the moment, followed by Switzerland's Ivan Peliza. And then it is Juan Ignacio Perez in the green there of his club, Playas Castellón, back in fifth as we look at them. They're moving down the back straight, and now the pacemaker will step aside quite soon, and Adrian Ben will be left in front, and this is going to be an intriguing decision for Ben. Does he really push on from here, or does he just back off just a little? And it looks like he has decided to push on, but Canales has got a great run into this race now. He will be able to point and shoot over this final lap. 1:19 or so on the clock as they pass through. It is a quick enough time at the moment if they can keep this going. It is Adrian Ben ahead of Elvin Josu Canales. They're just opening up a little bit of an advantage over Ivan Peliza, and then it is Juan Ignacio Perez back and forth, but it looks to be a two-man race for the win. It is Adrian Ben against Josu Canales. Ben versus Canales. Ben has it at the moment, but now Canales moves out. Can he get up to Ben? No! Ben digs in. Ben takes it. 1:45 on the clock. Adrian Ben, the man from Galicia, he does it in his home region. Adrian Ben takes victory from the front in brilliant style at the Meeting Internacional de Ourense. And confirmation now coming through. It is a meeting record for Adrian Ben. 1:45.14. Elvin Josu Canales takes second, 1:45.44. Ivan Peliza of Switzerland third in 1:45.99. And in the final race of the night, it was teed up beautifully, and this was absolutely no gimme for Adrian Ben. There was a tough opposition laid down in the form of a world indoor medalist last year, Elvin Josu Canales. He finishes a close second, but in the end, it is Adrian Ben who is the king.
Hi, I'm Nadia Batogritti. Sign up now to the European Athletics YouTube channel.